Our next speaker is actually the perfect person to talk with us about self-care because when I invited him to give his talk, his first reply was that weekends I try not to engage in work as part of my own self-care. Thankfully, he reconsidered and joined us today. Gary Berticelli is a licensed social worker and a member of the multidisciplinary palliative medicine team. He has extensive experience working with patients through their cancer journey, and we're very happy to have him here today talking with us about self-care.
Uh, good afternoon. I'm glad to be here with you today. And I am going to talk about self-care. And, in the course of these next few minutes, hope to give you a definition of what it is. Just talk about the benefits of self-care, look at the different types of self-care, and just kind of brainstorm with you, kind of hopefully trigger some ideas of self-care that may resonate with you and you may find helpful. To begin with, I just want to acknowledge that many of you who are listening today may be family caregivers. And I just want to recognize the huge contribution and sacrifice and gift that family caregivers provide. And just some statistics about this. It's estimated that there are 43.5 million family caregivers in the US. And the estimated economic values of the care that they provide, the latest statistic I found was from 2013, but it was $470 billion. That's a lot of contribution. 4 in 10 family caregivers are considered to be in high burden situations, meaning that the amount of care that they are needing to do and the other responsibilities in their life are quite high. On average, family caregivers provide 24.4 hours of care per week. But for family members who are actually living together, the family caregiver can provide up to 40.5 hours a week. That's a full-time job. And the average duration of the caregiving role is about 4 years. And the positive activities that caregivers give up, it's reduced by about 27.2%. So again, it's a huge contribution that family caregivers give. It's a role that, none of us ever requested. We find ourselves kind of thrust into it, and it requires just a lot of sacrifice and generosity and love. So, hats off to all the family caregivers, and this self-care is for you. But it's also for anyone who's living with a serious illness, and really any of us in the working professions, any citizen. And that's because, let's face it, life, just ordinary life, has a lot of stresses that come our way, and we need to take care of ourselves. So I want to pose a question at this point and just ask you to ask yourselves, what do you think of when you hear the term self-care? And the next question, I want you to ask yourselves, how is it for you when people tell you to take care of yourself? If we could move to the first cartoon slide. I don't know if this resonates for you, but I know in my own life, there have been times when people have told me to take care of myself, and there's kind of this harumph. I don't want to talk about it. What do you mean, take care of myself? where's the time to do this? All the things I have to do. And we sit there kind of closed off and a scowl on our faces. Um, I think that's one of the very common responses when we're told, oh, you should take care of yourself. It's hard to even consider when we're feeling really overwhelmed by all the things that are coming at us. Next slide. I think a second very common response when we're told to take care of ourselves is scratching our head and just wondering, what is it? What do we do? How do we do it? Where do we turn? Um, so that's kind of, I think, the landscape that often people find themselves in when life is hard. There is a lot coming at you. You know you should take care of yourself. People are telling you to, but it's hard to figure out. So let's talk about just kind of a definition of self-care. Next slide. It really is any conscious act that we take in order to promote our own physical, mental, and emotional health. So it covers a wide range of things, but it's that first step of being aware and conscious. It's time we need to attend to ourselves. Self-care is vital for building resilience toward the stressors in life that we just can't eliminate. It's about being as kind to ourselves as we would be to others. It's knowing when our resources are running low, when we feel that, wow, I just don't have any more to give. I'm just tired, irritable. And it's stepping back to replenish rather than letting ourselves and our resources totally drain away. And it involves integrating self-compassion into our lives and knowing that not everything that feels good is necessarily self-care. So the benefits of self-care, next slide, it actually leads to better productivity. This often feels counterintuitive when we feel beset by so many things and it feels like, I can't fit another thing on my plate. What do you mean, talk about self-care? But in what actually happens if we do take that pause, if we do the self-care, if we take the time for that, our productivity can actually increase. We have improved resistance to disease. Our physical health is better. We feel better about ourselves, our self-esteem. We know ourselves a little better. And in the end, we're able to give more. So what are the types of self-care? There's several different categories. And the first is just those basic sensory experiences. What can I touch, smell, see, hear? So things like cuddling up under a soft blanket. If you're apt to have access to the beach, smelling the sea air, feeling the warm water on your skin when you're in the shower, being outside and just feeling the sun on your back, listening to some music you love with your eyes closed. It's about those sensory experiences and really pausing for some uninterrupted seconds, 15, 20 seconds, even 10 is good, and just letting those sensory experiences really sink in. Another category is our emotional. If we can go back a couple of slides. Emotional types of self-care is, first of all, to recognize that emotions are not good or bad in themselves. They simply are. So not to blame yourself for the emotions that you have, tired, scared, angry, uh, whatever it is, the emotion is what it is. Um, the trick is to know how you behave in response to the emotions. Let yourself feel them, accept them, and then as best you can, move on. Try not to get stuck in the negative emotions. It helps sometimes to keep a daily journal. This is where seeing a therapist or counselor can be helpful. Making some time with somebody that you know really understands you and lets you be yourself and say how it is for you. Let yourself cry. Encourage yourself to laugh with old memories or funny movies. Sing along to songs that express your current emotion. Another type of self-care is spiritual. It's really getting in touch with your values, those things that really matter to you, and developing a sense of purpose. It may be keeping up a daily meditation practice, attending a service, religious, humanistic, walking in nature, making a list of the 5 to 10 things you're grateful for. Small things really add up. Say affirmations that ground your sense of self-purpose. I am doing my best today. I am a good person, even when I make mistakes. Um, and then there are the physical types of self-care. And that's physical activity because it's really important to our bodily well-being. Uh, and not only it helps us let off steam, um, it builds resilience. So being physically active releases positive, helpful endorphins. Um, so dance to your favorite song by yourself, it's okay. Do yoga. Join a class and learn a new sport. If you're a golfer, if you play tennis, take time, go do that. Go for a walk, cycle through the countryside. Physical self-care is also things that you don't do. So maybe you're tired, nap when you need to. Sometimes it's saying no to an invitation when you're too tired to enjoy them. Don't push yourself to exercise or when you're run down or unwell. And do your best to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And then there are those social types of self-care. Choosing to do things with people that really make you feel good. For many of us during this pandemic, that has been one of the biggest challenges. We just have not had access to that kind of social engagement. We do our best through, FaceTime and Zoom and video and social distance gatherings. But when we are able, getting together with people that make us feel good is really, really important. So next slide, just kind of a summary. Self-care means taking time to do the things you enjoy. Usually it involves everyday activities that you find relaxing, fun, or energizing. And they don't have to be grand things. Simple things like reading a book is as big as taking a vacation. Self-care means taking care of yourself by eating regular meals, getting enough sleep, doing your personal hygiene and anything else that just maintains good health, going to your own doctor appointments. Make self-care a priority. There will always be other things to do, other things that we say, oh, I don't have time for this. But don't let that interrupt the time that you set aside for self-care. It should be given the same importance as the other responsibilities in your life. If you are not well, you are not able to be there for the people you love and the important things that you want to do. Set specific self-care goals. It's difficult to have a vague goal like, oh, I will take more time for self-care. That's a great intention, but we're probably not going to really act on it. It's much better to be specific and say, I'm going to take 30 minutes to walk every evening after dinner. I'm going to schedule 15 minutes every morning to meditate. I'm going to do yoga for 20 minutes every evening or every morning. Whatever it might be, set a specific doable goal and stick to it. And then it's making self-care a habit. It's just like eating one apple doesn't eliminate health problems. It's eating the apple every day. So using self-care just once isn't going to have a lot of effect. But choosing activities that you can do often and that you'll stick to over the long haul, that's where the cumulative effect really takes hold. Okay. And you want to set boundaries to protect yourself. You don't need to have a major obligation to say no to other people. You can say, I have an appointment, meaning in your own mind saying, I have an appointment with myself to do my meditation. It is okay to set those boundaries. And your needs are as important as anyone else's. A few minutes of self-care is better than no self-care. Setting an alarm if you need to take regular breaks, even if it's just to walk around the block, or take an uninterrupted snack several times, oftentimes. Stepping away energizes you to work more efficiently when you return to your tasks. And unhealthy activities don't count as self-care. So substance use, overeating, unhealthy behaviors, they might hide uncomfortable emotions temporarily, but they cause long problems in the long term. So just recognizing, yes, this might make me feel good in the moment, but is it good for me? And then keep up with the self-care even when you're feeling good. Doing that is going to keep you healthy. It's going to keep you on a healthy routine. And that's really the purpose of this, that we can feel good as best we can in the midst of the life challenges and struggles that we have, the obligations that we have. This is what's going to help us over the long term to be well. The last, next slide. This is just a long list of self-care ideas. Some of these may turn you off. Some of them may sound, oh, that's really great. The idea of this list is not that you do all these things, but you may find something there that really resonates, or it may trigger your own thoughts of self-care. So, going through the list, replace should in your vocabulary. There's a lot of shoulds that we lay on ourselves. Really think about what is the necessary and important thing? What is the meaningful thing? Take 15 minutes to soak up the sunshine or whatever the pleasurable thing is. Laugh. Believe it or not, making your bed can give you a sense of self-esteem. I accomplished something. Watch an episode of your favorite TV show. Reflect on previous wins and achievements, especially when you're feeling like, gosh, I'm just not getting it. I'm just not getting anywhere. Work on a puzzle. something you enjoy that challenges your different parts of your mind. Sudoku, jigsaw, crossword puzzles are good. Make sure to drink plenty of water. Dancing, going to the movies, even on your own, doing something for charity. Um, Consider joining a local support group, starting a journal, learning how to give yourself a massage, writing a letter to your older self or to your younger self. Do something fun that you used to do as a kid. Change your bed sheets and have an early night. Read inspiring quotes. Read your favorite book. Smile at yourself in the mirror. So, to close this out, I want you to go back to that first question. And what would you say to a friend or a family member who says, I don't have time for self care? And what is one self care thing that you will do today? I hope this inspires you, and thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you so much, Gary. That was really very fabulous. And I am so appreciative of your time and taking a little bit of your own personal self care to support the rest of us.
Of course, you're
I'm going to
welcome.
check and see if there are any questions. There's a whole lot of thank yous, lot of appreciation, Gary.
Oh, good. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah.